All right, the watch this video here for November 11th. Pretty nice day in chat today. The market's starting to break free, and we're getting a lot of range in a lot of stocks. So it's time to start making some decent money again. Like I said, pre-election wasn't that much fun trading. I was just all I said was I wanted to keep all my capital and hopefully a little bit more getting to the election. So during this decline, I did that. I didn't add much to my account, but now the market's starting to get some really nice range. A couple calls that were made in the chat today. One of them was SAEX. Wayne called it right here when it was flagging like this. Pointed out this flag with the high of day to the left and the day before that high right above that are basically two equal tops there. So the flag break idea was about 718 right above this flag, with knowing that you had another possible catalyst of a high of day break above, and that's exactly what happened. So from 718 stop 699. Got a nice move to 808, and it didn't take very long. A great alert by Wayne. I actually called a nice trade on VRX. I had VRX on watch. Now, it kind of felt, believe it or not, even though it was beaten up, it felt extended to the upside, because after the gap down, it had 2 days, and then today gapped up. But it still gave a nice clean setup, right? These are 5-minute candles. You just had just a basic 5-minute buy setup with a high and a lower high. And if you trigger long on fives here over this candle, I wanted it to get above the half, so I called it at 1652 or 53, I think. 1653, looking to the left, next catalyst 1658, right? High of day break and up into that gap again. So that was the thinking. So 1653, the stop at like 1640, so 13 cents risk, and just like that, we got a 10-minute move to 17. My best sell was 1696, I think, but I almost got my daily goal right there on my opening trade. And that's just a good example of having a stock on watch, making it set up, and a very low risk. All of my entries will work right away for me, and if they don't, I get back out, because that's the kind of stocks and setups that I pick are something that should work right away, right? The trigger there, next catalyst, just a few pennies above that, so hopefully it gets fulfilled, and that's exactly what happened. So there's a couple examples from the chat today. Let's go into the list for tomorrow. Let's get the daily chart. Activision, ATVI. Is really beaten up here and getting down near the 200-day, and had a pretty good downside move today. So I do like this one, especially if it can take off to the downside in the morning. I'm going to look for an intraday reversal. I'm kind of expecting a bounce in that one tomorrow. Remember, I'll only take a trade with a proper intraday setup, something like I just showed you. Smith & Wesson, this was rallying into the election. I think if I had to put my pulse on the finger of traders and why this did what it did, I said this pre-election, that this would probably be a good buy if Hillary won, because the assumption is she's going to appoint Supreme Court justices and try to get rid of the Second Amendment. I'm not saying she is. I'm saying that is the assumption. And so the assumption then goes on to, if she wins the election, people are going to buy guns like crazy before they become illegal. That's the mindset. That's all I'm saying. Not a political statement. So then that didn't happen. Trump wins, and then it just gets decimated. However, if you want to look at my logical thinking is, one, you've got 2 big down days nearing support, right? So I'd like to see a sell-off at the open, look for a reversal down in this area. But that's one. It's a nice looking chart for a potential reversal tomorrow. And 2, if you think about it, these gun companies now don't have to worry, maybe for the next 2 generations, about guns becoming illegal. So, when reality hits, these are going to bounce, and they should bounce pretty nicely. Ruger is also another one, RGR, that's just been decimated. Big volume. But again, this is actually, if you could argue, there's not going to be a rush to buy guns now, but you could argue that now these companies don't have to worry, about going out of business because their product becomes illegal. So it's actually a friendly environment for gun manufacturers. So the Ruger down big for 2 days into these November of last year lows. It's gotten a long way in a very short period of time to get there. Great setup for a potential snapback tomorrow as well. All right, CXW. You had the gap up and a big range, and then today more of a quiet inside day. So just looking for a 3rd-day play. If that gives me a proper setup, it might be a nice long trade. Dry ships. Now this thing, man. I think there was a reverse split involved, so maybe they got, like somebody said, like 1 million shares in the float or something, which is why this thing went crazy. If you zoom in, this thing went from 475 to 1560 before settling in at 1190. Actually, one of our moderators in chat, Jonathan, posted it when it looked like this. Even took a screenshot, posted the screenshot, and had this nice move, had a flag, another nice move, and he posted a screenshot of this flag right here. The assumption being the entry would be like I don't know, right around here as it's breaking this little trend line, 960. It wasn't an official call. He just posted the flag, said, hey, watch this one. And look what happened. It went from, that 960 area all the way up over 15. There was a halt in there somewhere because it moved so fast. So a great post by Jonathan. I never did take this one, but man, it was a great post. Now, it's made such a huge move that it needs to come in a couple days, but you never know. When a stock can make a crazy move, low float stock like that, you might get a narrow range and then a high of day break. You might get some kind of setup. So we got to watch this one all week, for another week or two, really. But I'm gonna start watching it tomorrow because sometimes the very next day you get a nice setup. In that same space, dry ships, the shippers, NAT also popped. It was on our gap play watch list today. I missed a trade in it, but anyway, nice gap up on decent volume. Maybe a red to green in that one. And again, the same space. I grabbed a really low float shipper to put on the list as well. Well, dry ships is a low float. You can kind of picture a trend line here. A little extra volume today. This one might have a second day play as well. And then last, I'm going to throw, nope, not lastly, OPTT. Broke out of this week-long range today on a little extra volume. Might continue tomorrow. And then STON, really beating up stock. Gapped up today. This thing really didn't get much interest, though. Even on, at what I would call inflection points, like maybe this little flag here right below the high of day, this flag break, you still didn't see that much volume, and it didn't move that far. So I'm not in love with this one. I never did trade it, but, it's worth having on watch tomorrow. Really, really weak. Maybe it's starting to catch a bid. Who knows? We're also going to put some gappers on the list in the morning. And I'll leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.